I'm Cheryl Touchton, and in addition to being called the pocket full of quarters lady, I'm also sometimes called Bubbles. I love bubbles. I wear them around my neck. I blow them everywhere I go. I have guns that shoot bubbles, and I have a bubble machine that I put on picnic tables and campgrounds. Bubbles are my metaphor for when I love God completely. His love flows out of me like these bubbles and to other people. I love my neighbor as myself automatically when I love God, and the light of Christ lights up a room just like those bubbles. Recently, I got a little focused on worldly things and took my eyes off God for a second. I started thinking about things like severance pay and how we were going to pay the rent and what Bob was going to do next and contracts not coming in. And Bob and I were flying to Phoenix, and all we did was talk about everything that was going on. If I even sat next to a neighbor, I didn't notice. Well, in Phoenix, we had the most spiritual time getting reconnected with God and each other. And on the way back, I automatically loved my neighbors, and everywhere I noticed people that needed Christ. As we were leaving the airport at midnight, I noticed a lady on a park bench looking distraught. I said, "Are you okay?" Turns out she had just gotten back from Las Vegas, burying her 45-year-old brother, and she was heartbroken, and her ride from the airport had forgotten about her, and she didn't know what she was going to do. Well, Bob and I took her home, shared the love of Christ with her. She was not a Christian. She was going to church the next day, and I told her about Christ and what to expect to hear in an Easter service. If I had still been focused on worldly things like money and severance pay, I wouldn't have noticed her, and I would have missed that opportunity. The next morning, I was feeling pretty good about loving my neighbor, but I had another lesson to learn. I settled into my seat in the worship service and was all ready to worship Jesus on Easter Sunday morning. And my daughter-in-law says, "We can't sit here with visitors standing." And I looked around. I hadn't even noticed. People were standing everywhere. So Bob and I and my son Christopher and my daughter-in-law Whitney got up and gave our seats to our neighbors, our visitors, that Sunday, and we went back in a little room and watched the Easter Sunday worship service on closed-circuit TV. And I learned yet another lesson for loving my neighbor. You know, you can't make yourself love your neighbor. It just happens when we love God with our entire mind, heart, soul, and strength. So if you're having trouble and feeling like you're not loving your neighbor, don't beat yourself up. Instead, take all that energy that you're focusing on, money and kids and jobs, turn it around. Look straight into the mind, heart, and soul of God and give it all to Him and do nothing but love Him. And love for your neighbors will bubble up just like those bubbles that I blew. If you haven't visited pocketfulofchange.org, go there. You'll enjoy it. Thank you very much.